So for today's practice, you're going to need a blanket, and it can be like a classic yoga blanket or it can be any old blanket, but maybe something that just has a little bit of weight to it, so that you can get some grounding sensation from that. And something that maybe you can fold up and place underneath the hips so that you can lift your hips up a little bit higher than your knees, which is nice for the hips and low back. You might also grab a pillow, again, one that's a little on the firmer side that you can use to support your knees as a prop or your hands as a prop. And then you'll just come to a comfortable seated position. If you'd like to, you can roll the shoulders out, maybe shift the head from side to side. And we'll just take a moment to come into the body here. Taking maybe 3 cleansing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. And once that's over and done with, you can start to take breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Closing the eyes down or softening the gaze down. Just starting to come into the body, into this space of quiet and stillness. You can place your hands on your heart here, left hand on the heart and then right hand on top. Feeling your heartbeat in your chest. Feeling your chest fill up as you breathe, feeling your belly fill up as you breathe in. Noticing the softening down in both the chest and belly as you breathe out. Truly coming into connection with your breath here and with your heartbeat. Both the breath and the heartbeat representing that life force, that vital life energy that in yoga we call prana, that resides within all living beings. In our yogic practices, we're allowing the prana to build, to extend, to become more powerful. So just coming into the breath, and if at any point in time you have tension in the arms or the shoulders from holding the hands over the heart, know that you can release the hands down into the lap. And taking some time here to set an intention for your practice. If there's something that you've been working with, then you can use that as your intention and focus for your practice. Otherwise, I'll offer you this. There's a quote out there that says, "The body benefits from movement, but the mind benefits from stillness." And so in this practice, we'll do a combination of both stillness and movement so that we can provide both the body and the mind with benefits. So knowing that you can find a combination of both that serves you. Knowing that we're going to be moving a little bit slowly in our practice. Take some time to seal this intention. Breathing here. Taking a deep inhale through the nose. And exhaling it out through the mouth. Releasing the arms down into the lap if you haven't already. Knowing that if your mind drifts and wanders, you can bring it back to this intention. Knowing that the stillness is providing your body with benefit. You can open the eyes now, and we'll find some movement here. Taking circles with the hips, leading with the heart, moving in one direction maybe 4 times. And then switching to the other side, moving with the breath here. Remembering those deep, full inhales and deep, full exhales. Finishing out this side. We'll come back to center, and on an inhale, you'll roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, soften them down by your sides. 2 more times, inhaling, rolling shoulders up. Exhaling, softening them down. Last round with your breath. And then we'll take a moment here to shift into the sides of the neck. And so you'll take a moment to look down into your left, down into your right. Coming up through center, exhaling down into your left, inhaling through center, exhaling down into your right. This time we're going to hold once we arrive. So inhale and exhale to come down into your right or your left, whichever side you're on. Breathing into the sides of the neck here, softening any tension that might be building up in the face and the jaw. Breathing here, inhaling, coming up through center, and exhaling it, taking it over to your right or your left, depending on which side you're on. There's no right or wrong here. Again, just noticing if this side feels different from the other and sending your breath to the sides of your neck. Inhale, come up through center, and exhale. And so we're going to hold these poses for a few minutes as we move through them. So this kneeling pose we're going to take, and you are welcome to sit on your heels. You're welcome to use the blocks or book or your pillow. And we're going to move through some seated cat-cow here. So you'll start off with your hands towards your knees. You'll lengthen up through your spine and notice where your shoulders are. Think about stacking them over your hips here. We'll take an inhale here. As you exhale, round through your spine, draw your chin towards your chest. Thinking about making a C shape here. Good. On an inhale, draw your hands towards your hip creases. Lengthen through your chin, lift your chest. As you exhale, round and slide your hands towards your knees, round your chin towards your chest. Inhale, slide your hands towards your hip creases, lift your chin, lift your chest. Exhale, round in towards yourself. Keep moving like this, matching it with your breath. Maybe closing the eyes down, moving slowly, and allowing your inhales to initiate the movement. Once the inhale is complete, allowing your exhales to initiate the next movement. We'll do 2 more rounds with your breath here. One more for good measure. And we'll come back to a neutral spine and allowing your shoulders to stack over your hips, sitting back into yourself. If you would like to, you can keep your hands palms down on the tops of your thighs for more grounding and rooting sensation. Otherwise, you can place the backs of your hands onto the tops of your thighs so your palms are face up if you're looking to receive. And if this message doesn't resonate with you, maybe just notice what's happening in the shoulders. Maybe there's more of an opening across the front of the body and in the shoulders with palms up. Maybe you can find some softening in the shoulders with palms down. And we'll just take 4 rounds of breath here, sending your awareness into your body to notice where you feel this pose. So as we breathe here, we are straightening and lengthening through the tops of the ankle bones and the ankle joints. And at the same time, we're compressing into the knee joints. And what this does is help the joints to rejuvenate, to heal themselves. And so perhaps you might notice the subtle sensations that only you might be able to feel. Maybe temperature changes on the soles of your feet. Maybe a sense of pulsing in the left knee and the right knee. Knowing that if any discomfort or pain arises, you can soften this pose and come to a cross-legged seated position. Staying with the sensation here for one more round of breath. And slowly blinking open the eyes if they were closed. Leaning forward, and we'll send the legs out long, feet towards the top edge of your mat. If you've got your blanket out and it's not interfering with you in any way, leave it there. You can come and stay in this seated position, or you can come to lay down onto your back, and that's what I'm going to choose to do. And so I'm using this opportunity to let the body come back to neutral. Noticing if you can feel the sensation of your blood flow returning back into the lower parts of your legs. Perhaps the soles of your feet feel a little cool here. Notice how the left knee feels, how the right knee feels. Take 3 more rounds of breath here in stillness. Might crack the toes and roll the ankles. We'll bend the knees, plant the feet onto the mat, press into the feet, lift the hips up ever so slightly to bring the tailbone and the low back down in contact with the mat. Draw the knees in towards the chest, give yourself a squeeze. Rock here from side to side, moving slower than you normally would. Notice what's shifted. Then you'll make your way over onto one side and press yourself up to back to a seated position, only for a transition. Taking your time, we're going to find hands and knees. So a tabletop position here. Wrists are going to come underneath your shoulders, knees are going to come underneath your hips. We'll send the right toes to the back of the mat, keeping the toes down on the mat, press into your palms. And you might start to lengthen your right heel down towards the ground. This is going to bring the sensation of stretch into the calf muscles. From here, draw your navel in towards your spine. And then we'll bring that right knee back through. And we're going to step the right foot up in between the hands. So from here, we're going to turn this into a little bit of an active lunge here. And so you can keep both hands on either side of that right foot, or you can bring the right hand on the inside of the right foot. And we are going to take up space here. So you might walk your left knee back a little bit, your right toes forward a little bit. And you're going to send your hips towards the front of your mat and allow your belly to soften towards the mat as well. And so the engagement here is really subtle. Maybe just pressing through the feet, dialing right hip back, left hip forward. Allow your head to be heavy here, so letting your gaze shift from being forward to being down to your mat. If you've got the room, you can come down to your forearms. You can use your handy dandy pillow here to help bring the mat closer to you or to soften things. You can use books to have your hands have something to rest on. If you've got blocks, you can use blocks. You're going to allow yourself to soften into the pose even though there is a lot of engagement happening here. Breathing into where you feel the pose. So you might be feeling it in the hip creases and the low back. You might also be feeling it in the torso, the muscles that connect to all of the other muscles that
will wrap around the low back and the pelvis. We're going to take 5 more rounds of breath here. Softening through the jaw. Making these breaths full, deep, and even. Knowing that discomfort is a normal sensation here. Just holding space for that discomfort, for the experience you're having right now. Knowing that it is normal. Last round of breath here. And you'll start to press back up to your palms. If you made it to your forearms, you'll start to center through your hips. You'll slide that right knee back in line with your left knee. Come back to your tabletop position, and we will find a child's pose here. Knees can come closer together to stretch more into the hips. Knees can come further apart to stretch, knees can come further apart to stretch more into the hips. Knees can come closer together to stretch more into the low back. Allowing your forehead to come down to the mat. Pause here.
You can slide your arms long down by your sides if you've got any shoulder tension here to just kind of round in and soften even deeper. Feel your breath moving through you here. And you might move your forehead here from side to side, releasing any tension in the eyebrows, in the forehead, the third eye. Coming back to those deep, full inhales and deep, full exhales. And when you're ready, we'll slide the arms back up towards the top of the mat and come back to hands and knees.
And now we'll come to the second side. So wrists are going to come underneath shoulders, knees back underneath hips. Send your left toes to the back of your mat. And start to dial your left heel down towards the ground, drawing navel in to find some engagement here. Breathing into the left calf muscle. You might move your head here from side to side, releasing any tension that might be building up in the sides of the neck. Noticing your breath. And then as you inhale, draw that right knee through. And we're going to take that left foot up in between the hands, finding dragon on this side. Again, taking up space here. So you can choose to stay more square. You can choose to keep your feet, your left foot in between your hands, or you can bring the left hand on the inside of the left foot. You can choose to take up space here, walking your right knee back or left toes forward. Intensifying the pose as you need to, and this side might be different from the other. So staying in the same shape as what you took on the other side might serve you or it might not. Know that you don't have to be perfectly symmetrical on both sides. So if it feels better to stay more square and more lifted, know that you can take that choice for yourself. And we're going to find stillness in the pose. So shifting as you need to shift, taking one more round to find the wiggles and get them out of breath here, and then you're going to soften down. Allow the head to be heavy, allow the belly and the hips to pull towards the mat, let gravity take over here. Breathe here for 5 rounds of slow, deep breath here.
Knowing that this side might feel a little bit different from the other, and just staying with your breath, knowing that that difference is perfectly normal. Knowing that discomfort is a normal experience on this side as well.
Softening through the jaw, maybe separating the back teeth and wiggling them. One more round of breath here. There's gravity taking over. If you're on your forearms, slowly press back up to your palms. Lift your head towards the top edge of your mat. Center your hips. Exiting the pose gingerly. Walking your hands back and taking your left knee back to meet your right. Now from here, we're going to come to lay down on the belly. So you'll shift any props aside, or you can choose to lay down onto your blanket. But we'll come all the way down to the belly and we'll make a little forehead pillow, stacking one hand on top of the other and resting the forehead down.
You can wiggle here, shifting the hips from side to side if that feels right to you. Noticing the feel of the ground below you, bending the knees, windshield wipering the legs from side to side, making an effort to release any tension that might be existing in the low back, and making these movements really slow and gentle. Feel the support of the ground below you. Feel the connection of your breath in the front and the back of your body here. Perhaps sending a couple of rounds of breath to specific parts of your body.
Now from here, we're going to come to a Sphinx pose. So you'll bring your elbows underneath your shoulders, allow your arms to make a number 11 here. And now notice if you're pressing into the tops of your feet, and allow that work to stop. Feel the muscles of your seat melt here. Allow your legs, your heels to splay out as you think about walking your hands forward. Maybe elbows coming just past your shoulders. The rock salt lamp got in the way here. And then allow yourself to drop into the structure of your shoulders. So notice this lifted feeling here. Let go of that. Dumping into them, releasing anything that you practice when you do your normal vinyasa or yang postures. And allowing the belly to soften towards the mat. Compressing into the low back here. You might move your head here from side to side to release any tension in the head, neck, and shoulders. Gaze wherever you'd like. And soften here. So, as I mentioned, we're compressing into the low back. Same way we did in the knees. Telling the low back to rejuvenate. This compression creates something called synovial fluid, and that's the fluid that really helps the joint to rejuvenate. And so we're squeezing into this area to get into the deeper tissue layers. Knowing that you might feel some discomfort here, and discomfort is normal. It's okay to feel uneasy. Know that your body, your breath, can hold space for whatever sensation you're having right now on your mat. We'll take 3 more slow rounds of breath here, noticing how the breath moves through the body. So noticing how the spine undulates as you inhale and exhale. Last round. And I'll slowly lower down onto the mat, making that stack with the hands.
And now breathing into the back body, making a conscious effort here to identify the way that your breath is moving through you. And perhaps sending a couple of rounds of breath here to the low back, feeling the inhale bring fresh oxygen to that part of the body, feeling the expansion, using your exhales to soften in. And if you'd like to, you can follow that breath all the way up through the middle back and the upper spine.
Now From here, we'll press back up to our tabletop position. And we're going to take a quarter dog pose. And so, you'll take your arms out and bring your elbows down towards the mat, chest down towards the mat, allowing your hips to stack over your knees. And we'll just move the head here from side to side. Some vulnerability into the front of the body. And I'll take the right elbow parallel to your mat. Maybe use your right forearm. There's a pillow, or you can bring your head just in front of that right forearm. Breathing here.
And so you'll just notice the sensation, staying with your breath, deep, full inhales, deep, full exhales. Perhaps you might be feeling a pose in the low back, but perhaps you can really concentrate on where the sensation is in the armpits, along the sides of the body, left and right side, and notice the difference there. Again, noticing the breath moving through you, and staying with your intention, relishing in the stillness that you've created after finding movement into this pose.
Let's back onto the forearms. Take that left forearm parallel. Send the hips back to stack over the knees. Is that what's happening? Maybe not. It's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect.
So on the second side, you'll come back to your breath here. Noticing the sensations. Shifting your focus to subtler sensations outside of the sensation of stretch or pull. Maybe deeper, noticing your heartbeat in your chest as you open your chest towards the mat, allowing the front of your body to splay open to the ground below you, letting the ground hold you here, and letting gravity act on the body, allowing yourself to do 2% less work here. Imagining the muscles softening around the bone, even as you find those spots of engagement.
And we'll come back to rest on the belly. Take a cheek. Let your arms come down by your side. Palms face up so your shoulders round in. And the eyes close down. Know that you can also just flip over onto your back if laying on your belly doesn't serve you. And come into half frog pose. One of my favorite poses. So you'll take your hands underneath your face and you'll take that right knee out to the right. Right ankle underneath the right knee. Or you can choose to close out that joint. And soften into the pose here.
So this is another opportunity to feel the earth holding you here in this position. Surrendering to the ground below you. Truly allow your body to be heavy here. Breathe into your right hip. Slowing your breath down, ironing out your inhale and your exhale, making this breath full. And so while stillness is great for the mind, it's also a challenge. The longer we hold poses, the more challenging the mind becomes to sort of bring back into the current experience you're having. So allow whatever noises are surrounding you to come in, notice them, and release the hold of concentration you might be applying to them. Notice the temperature in the room, the feel of the cloth of your clothes on your skin. And then slowly start to come back to your breath, deep, full inhales, deep, full exhales.
Taking 4 more rounds of breath here. And slowly sliding that right knee, the right leg back alongside the left. Noticing if there's a difference between each side. And come to the second side. Sliding the left knee out to the left. You can pad with that blanket, especially if you've got hardwood floors or tile.
So allowing your hips to be heavy towards the mat here. Perhaps turning your head in the same direction as the knee. Even if you didn't do it on the other side, you don't have to be perfectly symmetrical to get the benefit of the pose in the entire body. Taking a few rounds of breath here to wiggle if you need to wiggle. Allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to find stillness, to move into some sort of heaviness. Easing tension through the face, separating the back teeth, softening through the eyebrows, feeling your limbs heavy, feeling your breath moving through you, feeling the rise of your back body as you inhale, and the softening of your back body as you exhale. At the same time, feeling your chest expand against the ground below you as you inhale and fill up with breath. Feeling the softening down as you exhale. Allowing this pose to help you find some softening, to help you find some ease. Letting yourself do 5% less work here. Taking 4 more rounds of breath here.
Slowly making your way back to the starting position. And just flipping over onto the belly. And we're going to set up for Shavasana. And so you have a few options here. What I recommend is you use your pillow to put underneath your knees, and then you can cover yourself with a blanket, or to kind of come even more into grounding, leave it folded so that there's a little bit of weight to the blanket, and then you can bring the blanket to be a little bit heavier on the hips so you feel some grounding here. So that's one option. And the other option is also really sweet on the low back. And so you'll take your blanket or your mat, even better, up towards the wall. I don't know if you can still see me. Yes, you can. So you'll sidle up to the wall, and then you'll turn so that your legs can come up to the wall. And you'll just kind of mosey your way up so that your legs are up the wall. And you don't have to have your legs flush up towards the wall. Your knees can be bent, and this will cause all of the blood flow to drain towards the low back. Both of these choices are really beneficial for the low back. And so you can pick whichever one feels right for you. You can do a combination of that using your blanket here to bring some weight to your hips as well, to feel even more grounded and rooted. And you'll take a moment to get the wiggles out, adjust your clothing, maybe take out your hair tie, truly allowing the body to soften into this shape. If you're doing legs up the wall, we'll just do this for about 2 to 4 minutes. If you are in the other pose, then you can stay in that pose for the same amount of time, but we will meet you there on the back.
In either pose, you're going to take a moment to soften here as well, truly allowing yourself to embody stillness. There's nowhere else you need to be and nothing else you need to be doing. Allowing your breath to come back to a normal pace and quality, something that's natural for you, that doesn't feel measured or forced. Pull your tongue away from the roof of your mouth, unfurl your brow, and truly give yourself a moment to actively rest. Different from sleep, different from movement, active rest. Allowing your thoughts to move through your mind as though they were in a river, not holding on to any one thought, just making way for the next thought, and the next thought, and the next thought. slowly start to deepen your breath, bringing yourself back to this space, back to your mat. If staying in stillness serves you, stay. Otherwise, you can start to take gentle movements to wake your body up, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, rolling ankles and wrists as you're ready.
Throughout the wall, go ahead and draw your knees in towards you. Roll over onto one side. If you're on your back, roll over onto one side. And then pause. I'm going to scoot back onto my mat here. And come over onto one side and pause.
Noticing how you feel now as compared to the start of class. Acknowledging the power of both stillness and movement in combination. When you're ready, you can slowly start to press yourself up to a comfortable seated position with your eyes closed or your gaze downward to keep your focus inward.
Sit back into your body. Feel your tailbone, your sit bones lengthen towards the ground. Feel the support of the ground below you. From that rooting sensation, feel the spine grow tall, the crown of your head reach up toward the ceiling. Gather your hands together in front of your heart center and bow your head. Thanking yourself for taking this time to move slowly, to move into quiet. Thanking your body for moving through this practice. And thanking your breath for being the vehicle through which you experience life. The light in me honors and bows to the light in each one of you. And so we say, Namaste. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me. My name is Sireesha, and I just wanted to offer something beneficial, something calming and grounding in this difficult time. Take care of yourself.